Okay.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. The plan for today is really quick, less than half an hour. Basically, we're just going to review what we did last week during Firesmart week. We got a little bit of a conversation about redwoods on Protection Island and our upcoming fall projects. Then Neil's going to talk about hours and how much work everybody did. And then Wendy and Emily's children are going to do the draw. So first of all, I guess we should just start with a thank you to everybody who volunteered, everybody who participated in the Firesmart week. People like Jim Lawton, who was down at the dog park all day Friday helping out, and Jim and Brenda, who ran around the island picking up stuff and all that kind of stuff. I always like to thank our Firesmart board, myself, Wendy, Neil, and Peter Rombau. Wendy and Neil came off the injured reserve list to help out this week. They were both ailing, so they came out to help despite that. Special thanks to Paul for the use of the excavator, and Doug for his, once again, skillful operating and filling the bins to capacity when everyone thought there was going to be tons left behind. And then a special thanks to our Firesmart partners, Brad Wood of Nanaimo Fire Services, Susan, Tony, and Charlotte of City Parks. They really did help a lot, and cooperation between the two groups. I think we saved some money and got a little bit more done than normal, so it was great. And then a real special thanks to our park stewards. These are the neighbors who last year did the work in Hidden Treasure and Elizabeth Parks, and they cleared the parks out, did all the Firesmart work, did all the invasive cleanup, and now they're continuing with weeding and even watering the plants that were planted last year. So I think the parks are looking really good, and it seems to be unusually dry so far this year. So it's going to take a little bit more to keep those plants going there. So we could probably start we got a little slideshow here of things. So Emily's going to make me hustle through this a little faster than I thought I would. And apparently the slides are in a different order than I originally thought. So we'll see what happens here. So the week started off Monday and Tuesday. We did field trips of Hidden Treasure and Elizabeth Parks. This is Hidden Treasure with some dogwoods coming out in bloom right off the bat there. So that was nice to see. We kind of reviewed the parks with the idea of what still needs to be done, and we discussed watering, of course, and then if we can just kind of from time to time go through and do some watering and weeding at the same time, then we should keep our invasives down. Is this actually on a timer, Emily, or are we just kind of going through it now? Oh, there we go. So the trilliums, oh geez, holy smokes. What is going on here? So anyways, yeah, Trillium Trail and Hidden Treasure Park was crazy with trilliums this year. So it was really good. So we can just kind of keep clicking through here. So this is our Hidden Treasure group, all nicely distanced, masked up, and that was our Monday field trip. And then the next one I think is we actually forgot to get any pictures of Elizabeth Park. So this is a picture from last year, everybody working in the park. And then the next one is also a picture of everybody working in the park as well. I think we had something like 30 some odd people come out on the community work day there. So it was pretty good. And the park is looking really good. We've got it half planted, and we're going to plant the rest this fall. So yeah, next one, please. So we because of all the hours everybody put in last year, we were designated a Firesmart community. So we stuck that sign up right where you come up from the ferry, with the idea with tying in with the city regulations and block watch to give visitors the let them know that we are concerned about fire on the island. So, okay, so the next one, starting on Wednesday and Thursday, we had all the stuff out for chipping, and the chip truck came over, and I got to say the MJR guys did a great job this year. They produced a much higher quality chip than last year, because I think that was kind of one of the cons of last fall's thing, was the chip quality wasn't very good. The chips were really good, but they were also able to chip up all of the hawthorn and all the holly as well. They brought that down in a separate bin for Doug to load into the bins, and then they still had time left over, so they went around the island, and this was their excuse me, absolute own suggestion. They went around the island and picked up all the stuff that was too small to chip and brought it down too. So we could keep going there. And there's a couple more slides of high quality chips, and then the next one I think is Andrew and Andrea picking up the chips there. So yeah, so and then the next one just shows all the stuff that they went around the island picking up for us. It was a huge effort, because we didn't have to do it. Of course, that was great. So yeah, so they once they were done, then of course on Friday and Saturday we did our everybody brought their stuff down. So the next slide is starting to show a progression of different ways people brought their stuff down. So there's all these makeshift carts. The next one I think is who is it there? Oh yeah, just pack it in the back. The next one I think is another option. Okay, so this is Amelia and Ryan. We think they tied for the unofficial award for the people that put in the most effort. They live or they have a place halfway up the island, and they brought about 4 or 5 loads like this, huge loads in their wheelbarrows back and forth all day Saturday. So they worked hard, but they tied with Bob and Angie and Andrea. They brought stuff like, I don't know what they were doing, but every 10 minutes they had another load. So they just packed load after load down on Friday. It was crazy how fast they were. So yeah, so there's a couple ways people are bringing their stuff down. I think the next one is Jay pulling the load down in his truck there. So yeah, everybody got their stuff down there. And then once everything was down, the next slide shows Doug going to work. I think it is. Oh no, there's still more here. Sorry. Yeah. So there's lots of wood as well. You can just keep going. And then Roger's got that giant golf cart, but he was only able to bring 1 bag at a time, so he made about 20 trips on Saturday there, which was good for Roger because he likes to chat. So he had lots of people to chat with there. So I think he had lots of fun. And then I think there's one more just unloading some more stuff there. And then Doug came down about noon on Saturday, and because I had kind of told him there wasn't going to be that much stuff, and then he was fairly surprised when he got there. And so he crunched everything down. And the next slide is another example of him just crunching everything down. And the next one just shows everything kind of disappearing. So we estimated that we took about 16 tons of invasives and boards off the island in the bins. This is the bins ready to go there. And then we generated about 12 tons of chips, and they are pretty much all gone. So there's just a little bit more to grab. So if you want some chips, probably today or tomorrow's the time, because I think whatever's left over, we're going to clean up on Monday. So if you want some chips, go grab them. And then, so yeah, basically, I think it was a really good week for everything. Kind of went amazingly smoothly. So that was great. And I think we're pretty much ready to start next year. So the next thing we want to talk about was redwoods. So this is the Firesmart program is donating 50. These are giant redwoods. They call it Sequoia-dendron giganticum is the Latin name. So they'll be available tomorrow at the community garden for free at the plant sale. the next slide shows as these guys are starting to grow up here. And so apart from being really nice trees, they're very resistant to pretty much everything: pest, disease, fire. They're a little susceptible to drought when they're little, but as they get older, they're pretty much resistant to everything. And the next slide shows it getting a little bit bigger. So there's a lot of communities. There's an article, if you go down to the community garden to get a tree tomorrow, on West Vancouver's doing the same thing, where their cedar is dying out, so they're replacing cedar in their parks and private properties with redwoods. So because of climatic change and all the other good things, the cedar is really struggling. So these redwoods seem to be able to fill the void there. So, but like I say, they do take some effort to grow in the early years there, and they need a little bit of attention. They like water, but they don't like too much water. They don't like being dry and then really wet. You know, it's kind of a consistent watering. So there's a little bit of a instruction sheet if you pick up a tree tomorrow on just how to look after them a little bit through their early years. Please don't plant them right next to your house, because they do need a little bit of room. So that's kind of the end of the slideshow. And then so before I pass things over to Neil, I just thought we should just give everybody a bit of an update on what we're going to be doing for the fall. So we were able to save a bit of money when the barge came over, because parks were cooperating with fire services. They filled the bins full of gravel. So basically Parks was paying for the bins. And so we've got a load of gravel down by the mailboxes by the Four Corners, and we're going to put that on the trail in Ben Gunn for a portion of it. And then the second portion of the trail, Parks is going to build a boardwalk this year. So I think the boardwalk's going to be about 100 feet long, and then connect into the gravel so that we get rid of all those roots, the tripping hazard there. So it should be looking pretty nice by the time that's all done. And Ben Gunn is also our restoration project for the year. So there's quite a bit of Daphne and holly in there and stuff. So that's, we'll make contact with the neighbors around the park and see if we can get some work parties organized to start pulling that stuff out. And because of all of the grand fir that's died in that park over the last 4 or 5 years, it looks, if you don't look up, it looks pretty nice. But as soon as you look up, you'll notice that half the trees in the park, they're just little stubs because they've all been taken down over the last few years. So we want to put a lot of trees in there. And City Parks has got a grant, so we'll be able to get pretty much everything we want to a bigger size, so they'll have a good chance to get going there. So yeah, so we'll be contacting neighbors similar to what we did in Hidden Treasure and Elizabeth Park last year. So then another small project we're going to be working on this summer is a park called Blackbeard Park, which probably nobody knows where that is, but basically it's a very small park, but it doesn't really have any issues around Firesmart or invasive plant removal, but we wanted to reestablish the trail. The trail, I guess it depends which way you're going. It can either start or finish at Anne Ferdinand's place, winds through the park and ends up over by Cora's place, at Russ Somerville's old place. So we just want to reestablish that trail and get some signs up so that park can be walked through just like the other ones we did last year. And then our community project for the year will be the hillside in Pirates Park. It's a lot of holly in there and a few other things, a lot of low hanging branches. So it's a well-used park. So if anybody plan that we wanted to do, so that'll be our community project for the fall. But likely, because there's a fair amount to do there, we'll probably do a few work parties ahead of that as well to kind of get a jump on it. The only other thing that is kind of happening over the summer is we're going to try and get a discussion going with the community garden around composting and that kind of stuff. When you're loading the bins, you see a lot of stuff that is, rightly is being put into the bins, I guess, but a lot of that stuff could, I think if we were organized on the island, we could be composting that ourselves and keeping the soil on the island. So, so we'll have some conversations with the community garden and see if we can figure something out either for the fall or for next spring. And then the last thing is our objectives for Firesmart are always the same. We want to make our island a safer and more resilient community, and and reduce the chance of fire spreading. And sort of a byproduct of that we found over the last year or so is that our projects are quite fun social events, as it turns out. So getting lots of people out, they're getting a little bit of physical activity and a little bit of a mental break as well from hanging out with neighbors and just chatting and stuff. So I think it's working. There's a lot of side benefits to what we're doing that we hadn't really anticipated. So before I pass over to Neil, is there anybody that has any questions on what happened this year or what we're doing this fall? Excellent. Don't hear any. If you think of something, either you can email one of us or stick it in the chat and we'll capture it as well. So so I think I'm gonna pass it over to Neil.
Thanks, Rick. You did a good job of covering our work so far this year. So I'm the bookkeeper, I guess. We don't actually have official titles, but I keep track of how many hours people submit, and eventually those all go over to the city and off to whoever the central organization is for provincial Firesmart, I assume. They never really told us, or if they did tell us, I wasn't listening. Both ways. So it was a really good week, and I put out a notice that we would log in hours from January through to April, and lots of people were really good about that. And so I will just consult the green binder app, I guess, for the work we do. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 pages that would be going into Firesmart Canada. And I'm sure by the end of the year, that number will be doubled. Now, for this last session, January to April, there were 71 people in the community who submitted Firesmart hours. And that gave us 1,461 and a half hours that I've logged. So well done, people on Protection Island.
Wow.
I really appreciate your support. And yeah, there's something I was going to discuss with Rick and Wendy, but maybe at the end of the meeting. So that's my report. 71 people involved. And of course, that could be 2 people from a household or whatever, and then 1,461 hours. Way to go. Any questions?
Thanks, Neil. That's actually a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
That's true. I got some big hours at the end there.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, let's reward people for those hours, and let's turn it over to Wendy and Emily and Renee and Grant and see what we can do here.
Okay. I get to do the fun stuff now. So we've got 6, I think, great prizes. Thankfully to Dingy Dock and the Native Nursery, Nikki, Thora, and we have a mystery donor. So I'm not too sure who that is. So are you guys ready to draw for prizes? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So number 1 prize is 4 round trip passes on the Dingy Dock Ferry plus a punch card. So that's a nice prize.
All right, Grant's moving first. Okay, don't look. Stick your arm up and fish in. Deborah Weekham.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yep, very good.
Okay, now yeah, Wendy will announce the prize.
Congratulations, that's great. Okay, and our second prize is a $50 gift certificate for NALT, which is the native plant nursery just south of Nanaimo. So number 2.
All right, Renee. What's your name? Rachel Pike.
Rachel, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And number 3 is a $50 gift certificate from Nikki, who kindly donated, and you can have your choice of meals, baking, or cleaning from Nikki. And that's $50 worth.
Your turn, Grant.
My house.
That one. Whose is this one? Dell Smith.
Nice.
Okay.
Sorry, Renee.
Okay.
Great. Or this one. Okay.
And number 4 is a $50 gift certificate from the Dingy Dock Pub.
Oh, not yet. All right, Renee. Oh, let's do that. There we go. Linda and Gary.
Yahoo! Awesome.
I like that.
2 more left.
2 more.
This is from our mysterious anonymous donor. It is a wasp fire protection kit.
All right, Grant. Oh, there's 2.
Who gets thrown back?
Melissa Hadley.
Sorry, who's that?
Melissa.
Okay.
Happy. Okay.
Perfect.
I missed that one.
Oh, Melissa Hadley
Oh,
on that one.
oh
Yeah.
man, she gave me lots of.
And our last prize, our grand prize, is baking from Thora. Thank you, Thora.
All right, Renee. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put the spotlight back on. There we go. All right. You got 2 there too. These ones stick together.
Probably the same person got chucked back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rudy Bagel.
Oh, Rudy.
Rudy.
Rudy. I don't know if you can see that.
Perfect.
Nice. Lucky guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So congratulations, everybody, and thank you so much again for the donors. That we really appreciate that for the prizes, and thank you everybody for participating in Firesmart. 71 people. I think that's amazing. That's awesome, and every year we grow more and more. So thank you everybody for your participation.
That's it.